You're listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls, tradition, education, and quality. Built to hunt.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Union 0430 podcast, episode 192, and we've got the man, Bobby Hayes from Ducklander Calls coming on with us. It's just Bobby and I because this is a very impromptu show because it is the 4th of July, and Bobby has managed to carve an hour out of his schedule to sit down before he goes on with his July 4th celebration. So happy July 4th to you, buddy.
Thank you.
Before we get started, a big thank you to our sponsors, Real Geese, First Light, and of course, Ducklander Calls. And we got the man on with us right now. And of course, the voice of the Union 0430 podcast, Captain Jeff Coates. Check those guys out. Check out their socials. Give them a like. All that good stuff, and let them know that you heard about them through us. Bobby, thanks for coming on, buddy. I know you are busy, even though you were in the middle of a semi-hurricane, and you managed to managed to come on with us.
We had a lot of rain last night. My kids are still there. It was some flower garden that got flooded out. So,
wow.
Yeah, the flower garden is postponed.
It is postponed. So what's the plan this evening? Big fireworks, the whole bit?
Probably not a lot. I don't know. I'm sure she'll go spend a couple $100 on them, which will probably be about 15 minutes worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that, and I think she said she was making Alfredo.
Oh.
So, yeah, that will be the evening.
Nice. Alfredo, is that a special meal for you guys or what?
No, she just decided she wanted chicken Alfredo tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I dig it.
If I don't have to cook it, I don't complain.
Big time, buddy. Listen, I gotta say, if anybody is not watching on YouTube right now and you're just listening on the podcast, I know I talk to you pretty much every week, and I know usually when I'm talking to you, you're always slam busy. There's always something on the go, but I'm looking over your shoulders right now at how many boxes.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot. There's way more on this other side. I don't know. There's probably almost 3,000 in here right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So much so it's awesome because I remember when you got this shop, when you moved into this shop, right? Because you needed to expand. You got into this shop and then you expanded a little bit in the shop and you had to move some stuff around. And now you're talking about expanding the shop again just because of your engraver, right?
Well, so this year I added a second laser engraver. So for anybody that's never been around a laser engraver, almost all calls, if they're labeled, they're engraved.
Yeah.
Stickers occasionally, mostly engraved, but it is not particularly a fast process. So on my calls, the laser engraving does the air grooves in the tone board, it does the checkering, and then it does all the text that's on the call, right?
Right.
So I'd say like on a duck call, there's probably close to 10 minutes by the time it's all said and done.
Really?
8 to 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have 3,000 calls, you can times that by the minutes. It's a lot of minutes. So this year I added a second laser engraver. So the engraving, this used to be the engraving and inventory room, and the engraver sat over there.
Yeah.
But there wasn't enough room for the second one, so that had to move out in the shop. So I had to move everything around. Yeah. So I currently now need to bring in the CNC lathe. So the shop is expanding that way this spring.
So and only because I know about this and most people haven't seen it, but the lean-to, is that what you're expanding to, the lean-to?
Yeah, so when I built the lean-to last year, I built it with the plan of making it into more shop. So lean-to would be a very liberal way of describing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same size as the shop. It has
Yeah.
all four walls. It just has two garage doors in each end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll get concreted and then insulated, and then there'll be a doorway right over there that goes into the lean-to.
That's awesome. I did want to bring it up today because you had brought it up in the past because I had seen you wearing new clothes.
Oh,
And it used to always be funny because it was always a Ducklander shirt and always a Ducklander Ducklander hat. And then all of a sudden you started wearing this other stuff. So you were wearing Boss and
well, there's
some,
occasionally Maven put in there as well.
yeah, a Maven is
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. Lucky Duck doesn't have a lot of clothing.
Right.
So, yeah. And then there's yeah. So pretty much that's when laundry's dirty.
It's so awesome because when you think about it, you think about your everyday clothes, and this is like this is my one of my favorite. This is probably one of my favorite shirts. And this is the old Ducklander
That's
shirt.
very old.
That's very old, right? And
Yeah.
but it's this I think it's like the Gildan 5300 or something.
Yep.
And it is one of the best t-shirts, like comfort
So-
fit wise.
I don't make any t-shirts that are over like 5 ounces because I don't like the way they feel. I like
Yeah.
the really light.
Yeah.
And it's a lot cheaper to wear your own t-shirts than go buy clothing. So
100%.
yes,
100%.
so pretty much my wardrobe is company shirts. So my daughter mentioned to me this year, it'd be nice if you would occasionally wear, different. So what ends up happening is when I do a batch of clothing, like that's my colors for a year or two. Yeah,
That's awesome. So is it safe to say it's not really what the public wants when it comes to colors? It's more or less what you feel like you want to be wearing for the next year.
and I'm just not a big clothing guy. Clothing
Yeah.
is not a big part of my business. Yeah.
No.
So I keep it gray, blue.
Before we get
green.
into talking about some of the calls, and I know we'll end up talking about a bunch of other stuff because you and I hardly ever talk about duck calls and stuff, but I was talking to Philly just before we hit the record button, and he said, "Tell Bobby to shoot me a message because I need to pay him." So
I do. I set his call off to the side. Yeah.
So he's looking. He wants to give you some money. So make sure you give him.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, make sure you write it down on your paper so you don't forget to tell him. And I was like, I won't, buddy. I won't. So listen, I want to keep with our normal themes and what we normally chat about. So I want to start it off, and this is so out of the norm for this show, but I want to start off by talking about the 4th of July, Independence Day, and like Canada Day is the 1st of July, like I was explaining to you the other day, right? So it's Canada's birthday, really, is the
Right.
first of July. And it's a fairly big day, especially like guys like me and people like me. It is but it's not on the same scale as what the 4th of July is for down in the States. Like I'm going through my Instagram feed today, and it is just 4th of July, 4th of July.
Oh, yeah.
And it's huge, and it's Independence Day. And of course, here in Canada, a lot of my buddies are putting up, what are they calling it? National Treason Day. That's the best one. I love that.
Right.
Yeah. National Treason Day. You're filthy, ungrateful, treasonous, or whatever it is. So it's always funny seeing that stuff. But, when it comes to the 4th of July down there for you, like it is such a huge, huge deal. But is the 4th of July the day that your Constitution was signed? Is that what it is?
Man, you're gonna get me on the spot here. I'd have to Google it.
Yeah.
I know it's a celebration of
Right.
the country.
Yeah.
But I'd have to Google what it. I don't know if I know what it really is, other than it's just a celebration of
Okay.
freedom.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
it would sort of kind of make, because it's called Independence Day, right? So
Right.
somebody
don't-
somebody has said this is the start of our independence, and I'm guessing that's why it's
Yeah.
on the 4th of July, right?
I would assume, but
Yeah.
man, it's been so long since I was in school. I don't remember it. Yeah,
Well,
let's look it up.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd
and
assume
yeah,
we
I would.
signed something special
Yeah,
today, right?
yeah. I love, all the posts that I'm seeing is the 4th of July is brought to you or is possible because we
Oh,
own guns.
absolutely.
We own guns. That was
That's right.
that was one of the best ones I seen today. You can thank us gun owners for the 4th of July because
That's
had it
right.
not been and it is
Yeah, so it's the ratification of the Declaration of Independence.
right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I said. I assumed it was the day something was signed or made official.
Yeah,
Yeah. But like I said, I just look at it as a celebration of freedom.
of course.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the common theme, right? Like if you look at everybody that posts, everybody that's sort of kind of celebrating, that seems to be the common theme, right? Celebrating our freedom, our independence, we became our own country, that sort of kind of deal where, you know, we
I
are in charge of us.
I hope, as goofy as things are right now, this is the biggest celebrated 4th of July ever.
Oh, buddy. North America is in a mess right now.
Oh, buddy.
I actually went on Twitter today and I put out, and I know you're a big fan of Dr. Jordan Peterson, and I was like, we need Dr. Jordan Peterson and Pierre Poilievre, which is who I'm hoping is going to be the next
Yeah,
prime
that's
minister.
your
Yeah,
conservative guy, isn't it?
that's right.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need those two to do an interview like now. We need to blow up the
I would
internet.
assume it's coming. Dude,
Uh,
I'm waiting to see if I don't know if he'll do it. I'm waiting to see if Rogan has Trump on.
Well, he had Tucker Carlson on, right? So,
He did, which was
pretty close to having Trump on.
it's pretty close, right? That seems to be his little thing is he'll have the advocates on, but maybe not that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I you know, I'm not going to try to get into the brain of Donald Trump, but if you have the opportunity to go sit down with somebody that pretty much drinks the same Kool-Aid as you do, and has the reach that Rogan has, I think you'd be crazy not to sit down and do a podcast with him.
Yeah, I think Rogan tries to stay as non-political as he can.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't blame him. That's not what his show is, right?
Right. But
yeah,
he tries to stay as non-political as possible, but at the end of the day, his view, it's not hard to see which side he leans towards.
Oh no, he's definitely leaning less crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
100.
I would like anything he could do to influence it to go away from the current trend. That's fantastic.
You know what? That's a good, because I had this talk with my daughter the other day. So not that she's so my daughter's 18 years old. So not because she's this huge Taylor Swift fan, because she's not, but it had come out about Taylor Swift possibly endorsing Biden, right? And I said, well, I don't think it's right for Hollywood or music people to get up, because it's not their place to get up and endorse politicians or politics, right? And my reasoning behind that is that, so let's take Taylor Swift for example. That woman is the most popular celebrity, I would say, in the world right now.
Wild.
Yeah. Right?
Maybe ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if that girl gets on and says, I want you to vote for X, I guarantee you, any girl under the age of 22, 23 years old is probably going to listen to what she says.
Well, I don't understand why in general they want to throw any opinion out from the money business side of it.
Right.
It's not as though they're in an industry that they can guess what everybody is.
That's right.
It's pretty hard to guess, or it's pretty easy to guess who's buying duck calls. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be a few, but it's pretty easy to guess for who's listening to this,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But if I was a celebrity, I don't think I'd give my opinion on any of that from a money standpoint,
No.
unless you got your differences like Toby Keith, very
Yeah.
very patriotic, right? But that's kind of his thing.
That's right.
Or Kid Rock, like he's going to tell you one way or to kiss
Yep.
his butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's his branding.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I seen a meme the other day. It was a good one. Or maybe it was Rogan. It was somebody. They said, America, if you get mad at your beer, you can shoot it. That's fantastic.
That is pretty bad. And so, and for anybody that's listening and thinks that that's such a ridiculous statement, if you just think back to when he made that video, when he shot up all those cases of Bud Light, like the stock for Anheuser, like it plummeted.
Hey, if you think that's ridiculous, it really wasn't. He made his statement. They came to him and said, "How do we fix this?"
Yeah.
That's how you fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need more people doing that.
Absolutely.
That's how this stuff gets straightened out. Yeah. The nonsense ends with that stuff.
But I do think that we are at a point, we're at a tipping point right now where and we're seeing it in Europe, right? We're seeing Europe now Europe said, okay, we've had enough of this bullshit. Like it's time for a change. And the hard thing is that it's like in the army. When change comes in the army, it's never in the middle. It's always too much to the left or too much to the right.
Oh, yeah.
They can't find that middle ground. And what we need to do, and not that I'm a middle of the road guy, but we can't go too far to the right where all the knuckle draggers are applauding, and we can't go too far to the left where all the hippies are applauding either. So we got to try and find. But in Europe right now, they've had enough. They're just like, fuck this. We've had enough.
I think once they started messing with the kids, and then they opened the borders. Yeah, most people just can't tolerate that.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Especially when you're messing with the kids, right? But anyways,
well, they put so much under acts of kindness and being non-offensive, and life just doesn't work that way.
No.
But there's no act of kindness for that open border. They can try to spin it, but there's not.
No, and it's getting out of hand. There was a video that surfaced, I think it was last week. It was, those guys that go around and they set up pedophiles, like they pretend to be these kids and then they go catch them. Well, this one, dude or whatever he is, he sets up and he's going to go catch this pedophile at a park, and I believe it was in Florida somewhere. So not
I think I've seen a clip of this.
Yeah, not a state to be fucking around in. First off. So the guy goes and confronts him. The dude is an immigrant, and some girl comes from the side and just starts, attacking the guy because she thinks he's being prejudiced against him. And he's like, dude, this dude's a pedophile. Shut your mouth. You don't even know what you're talking about. And I think that's where we're getting. It's just gone too far where someone's got to have their mouth going all the time now.
I think I would be in total favor of bringing the old sheriffs back that just don't bring them to court.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
absolutely.
Just handle it in their own community and life goes on. But that's probably not as popular as it once was, but that'd be my vote.
Yeah.
For most of this silliness.
I honestly do believe, I don't know if we'll get to that point, but I think people's patience right now is the majority of people, I think they've ran out of patience. It's be nice and welcome people and all this, but at some point, we've got to start reeling some stuff in. But anyways, I know there's a lot of people that probably don't want to listen to me. This is how mine and your conversations usually go on a weekly basis. But listen, I did want to talk about 20 years, buddy. You've been doing this for 20 years, and I remember
2004.
20 years, and I remember I sent you a picture a while back, and it was a screenshot from your YouTube videos, like when you had that long
Oh yeah,
hair. And
yeah.
but 20, like Bobby, what have you? I'm, and I guess I know some of the answers, but like, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen over the 20 years since you've started Ducklander Calls to where you are today?
Oh man, as far as in the hunting community or
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
industry or
the industry, a little bit of everything, like the good and the bad. Like what I would say, social media is good and bad, but
well,
you know what I'm? Yeah,
when I
go for it.
first started, the main you could pretty much call it social media, but it was forums.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah. If you didn't have a budget to be on TV or take out magazine ads, then you were on forums. I mean that's how I started. Everything was a forum.
Yeah.
Websites are an amazing change right now. Oh,
Yeah.
so when I started my duck call company, I didn't have an email address. Um, I didn't use an email. So I was a construction guy, and high tech at the time was a fax machine.
Right.
You'd send a bid and send a bill, everything was by fax and check, right?
Yeah.
So I had to start an email address when I started the duck call company, first time I'd ever used it. And then to build a website, the price of a website was insane.
Yeah. Astronomical.
So it was hard to, like, when you had a website, it was a big deal.
You're right.
Yeah, it's not everybody had a website because it was so expensive to do. So when I started the duck call company, I had never used a camera, I had never used an email, and I'd been on a computer very, very little. So the first thing I learned was email, which I mean, it was just Yahoo back then, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then the second thing I started playing with was Photoshop. And I I don't know if I can't remember if I had a digital camera or a film camera. I think I had a film camera.
Wow.
I think I had to scan the photos into the computer,
Yep.
but I
Sounds
could
about
be
right.
wrong. I don't remember 100%. But I think, and so then I learned video. So after a couple years went by, I learned the Photoshop. It might have been, it was an early edition of Photoshop.
Right.
But then I had a guy that got me a pirated copy of the photos of Adobe Master Collection. So that gave you the video editor, and that
Yep.
gave you Adobe. It's this thing called Fireworks.
Yep.
And then it gave you, there used to be an FTP program, which is file transfer program to if you made a website to put the files onto your server.
Right.
So my redneck way of making a website was I got pretty decent in Photoshop, so I could make it in Photoshop. I could send it over to this program called Fireworks, which lets you slice it and make it into an HTML
Yep.
image,
Yep.
and then I could send that to the FTP server, and then I could put that on the internet.
Holy.
Yeah, so that's how I would do a website, and then PayPal was a big thing. So PayPal would give you a link to go to PayPal and pay. So that's how I had a shopping cart.
Yep.
Yeah. So huge change is a thing called Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
Shopify is amazing. Yeah. So that's a big change. When I started this, in order to take a credit card at a trade show, I had a knuckle buster machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, you take the card,
Yeah.
you put it in the little machine, and then you
Yeah.
put the copy paper in there and you
Yeah.
swipe it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I would go back to the hotel at night, I would have to get on the hotel phone because you couldn't do it off the cell phone because the service wasn't good enough.
Right.
And you would get on the landline and you would call the 800 number, and then you would go through the little system and enter the amounts and the credit card numbers.
Really?
So yeah, so if I had a good show, I might spend 4 hours putting payments in.
Holy.
Oh yeah, so if we got back at 6 o'clock, I'd put payments in the credit card system until 10 o'clock,
Wow.
11 o'clock at night. Yeah. So then if a card didn't work, you just had to hope the guy would give you a different card when you called him and said, "Hey, your card didn't work."
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a huge change now because
Everything's
websites and payment and all that is so easy, right? There's a million ways to send money.
absolutely.
And then, like I said, forums were a really big deal, but it used to be a hell of a process just to put a photo on a forum.
I can remember forums and trying to
I
post a
think I
picture.
think I think you put them on Photo Bucket. Was that it?
You had to drop them into a second
Yeah,
program.
like you put them into a website and then it
Yeah,
gave you, I think, a link that you'd put in on
yeah,
the post. Yeah, it
yeah.
was a process.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah. Like, man, I'd say people probably wanted to post photos more then than now.
Yeah.
Because like you had to work at it.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't easy.
No. That was
Um,
Yeah, go for it.
Trade shows were much better back then. The trade show itself they were just better.
Yeah,
There was more customers. There was more excitement around them. Um, there was more. There was a lot of smaller trade shows you could talk to customers at.
right.
Right now, the trend has kind of gone to more expensive, larger trade shows like the Turkey Show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the little trade shows that we used to do, they're not around it.
No.
But yeah, so you'd go to a show and maybe you would have 1,000 people at it, but you might do 20 of those.
Right.
And now there's just one show with 20,000 people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a prime example of, it's great that technology has evolved and things are faster and more user friendly now. But when it comes to these trade shows and stuff, and only because I've heard these things, but I've heard people say, "Man, I wish trade shows would come back. I wish they'd come back to the glory days of what they once were." But there's no draw anymore because everybody's got a website. It's not like back in the day when it was really just the big names that had websites. You had to go to a trade show to find out what the newest stuff was coming out for that year,
Well,
right?
the industry is split up right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first started this, the industry was not as split apart.
Okay.
So, and I don't mean that as like fighting. I mean
Yeah.
it as when I first started doing this, there was basically Avery and Final Approach.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would go to most of the waterfowl shows, it was presented by Avery or presented by Final Approach.
Right.
So that now I wasn't involved in it, but that umbrella would have all of these waterfowlers in it that were going to give seminars and talk and be there.
Yep.
So people would come out to see them.
Right.
And it was a huge draw. Like when I first got into this, like that was kind of what you were looking at. I was like, hey, how do I get involved in that?
Right.
Yeah. And now like Dakota does their own thing, Avery does their own thing, Bandit does their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, when I first started this, Avery was probably the largest decoy company. I don't think anybody know who owned it.
Right.
They just knew the people that were at the shows on
Mm-hmm.
behalf of that brand. And now everybody knows Bill from Dakota.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the guys at Lucky Duck. Everybody knows they promote themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. I was talking to Massey about this the other day. Like besides a few TV shows that are left, there's no sponsorships anymore.
No.
I don't know what anybody would be sponsoring.
No. I agree.
Right. But 15 years ago, that was a huge deal.
It was. But
Yeah.
other than, you look at Stahl, right? So Stahl's still
Yeah.
doing our
That's why I
R&T.
say that's one of the ones that
Yeah.
are left, right? Like
Yeah.
he's legit, needs the sponsorships. That's how that show
Yeah.
lives.
That's right.
Yeah.
But really, R&T. So Stahl and Bill, with Dakota.
You have, let's see, so on TV, I don't know. I don't have any outdoor channels, so I really don't know. And I don't watch
Yeah.
Most guys in the industry will tell you the same thing. I don't watch hunting.
Yeah.
Right. I especially don't watch waterfowl content.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's any actual waterfowl shows on TV besides Mojo, Heartland, and RNTV. There
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are, right?
Right.
I never see them come across social.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like but no, so like I work with 4 brands.
Mm-hmm.
They're not sponsors. They don't sponsor anything.
Right.
I work with Bill from Dakota because I've known him since he came out with decoys. So I've
Yeah.
known him since 2007 or 8. But it's just he's a friend. But
Yeah.
about everybody that I work with is in that same category. Lucky Duck. Tim and Ricky and Luke, they're just friends of mine.
Yeah.
Boss Aaron, the guy that does outside sales for him, he's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And then Maven, friends of mine. But
Yeah.
there's no sponsorship to it.
Right.
So I don't think that exists anymore. So like that's a huge change. Now, maybe if you're a social media influencers, maybe they have sponsors. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't dive into that world.
Yeah, I don't even know if those guys even like
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I don't.
Yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
know if those guys like the thing is now, and we've talked about this on this show a million times. With it being so easy now, like all you need is your phone. You can snap your picture, you can upload your video, you can interact with your audience, no problem, and everybody can do it. What's the need now for let's say Ducklander calls. Now obviously you sponsor us, but
Correct, I do. I sponsor your podcast. See, that's a legitimate thing. I think that benefits from a sponsorship.
right. But
Yeah.
like for a guy or a girl that's out hunting, to be sponsored by a brand now, I guess that guys like Remy Warren or remember that your buddy there that
So this is how to explain it. So like I don't know Remy Warren. I know he's some kind of big game guy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I've seen him on Rogan. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But so like Donnie's another example of this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Donnie
say
Vincent.
they have. I don't. Maybe they would. Like I wouldn't say they have sponsors. I would
Mhm.
say they have brand affiliates that help them pay for projects.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
That would be like, to be honest, like I don't know what it does for the customer to say this person sponsors me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that even means. Like if somebody tells me that, I don't know what it means now. I used to know what it means. It used to mean I made a DVD and I need $15,000 to make this DVD because we go to these places and it costs this much.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy's shipping in cash, this brand, to help me create this. But I don't know what it means it's just kind of gone.
Yeah, and I think now today, and this is and again, this isn't us throwing shade or
No, I don't understand the
Yeah.
purpose of most of this stuff.
but I think most people now it's a I don't want to say it's a status thing, but it's sort of I think it's just a for lack of a better term, a dick measuring contest now.
Yeah,
right? Well,
like I said,
yeah,
I don't know what the point of it is.
Because
So,
the days of like not that I know a lot of people or I'm 100% in the know of everything, but like the few fellas that I do know that are running businesses and brands and stuff like that, the margins are so tight now. They don't have budgets to be handing out free shit anymore for you to be trying.
not a lot, right?
No.
So social's such a weird thing. I try to post things that people that buy calls from me can take and make their hunting better.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but I'm also very diligent about like, hey, these are the decoys I use, but keep in mind, I work with Dakota.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they're friends of mine. So like you're not going to see other brands of decoys when I'm doing these things, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I do not work with Tangle Free, but Massey is a friend of mine.
Right.
And I like Corey that owns it, right?
Yeah.
They make a lot of good stuff. I use their layout blinds.
Yeah.
I think they make the best layout blind on the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm doing that stuff, I'll say, hey, like these are what I use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used a lot, and this is the one.
Yeah.
None of that requires sponsorships. None of that requires anything.
But I think but with you, Bobby, I think that's by design too, because with you not having a sponsorship with anybody, then that leaves you to be able to use exactly what you want. So you could be a Lucky Duck guy, and you could be a Dakota guy, and you can use some Tangle Free. Like you're not handcuffed whatsoever.
I don't like anything influencing the words I have to say.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. and yeah, I don't want to lie about any of it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's a point in it.
No.
Yeah. So now I understand if you have a TV show, dude, TV shows are expensive. Like it takes a certain amount of money to create that thing.
Yeah.
So there's just a certain amount on a TV show you're going to swallow because I have to have the funding
Yeah.
to do one.
Right.
But I think if you're looking for the most honest feedback, like the influencer is not where you get that from. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that is a thing that has changed completely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I do like about social, and I was just having this talk with Ben the other day.
Yeah.
I like the photo side of social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I consider when you can post on social and it's really good photography, you're putting art into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I do not consider myself a photographer, but I get a good photo every now and then.
Yeah.
So I consider that it's a way to represent waterfowl hunting in a really good way, and you're kind of dumping art into the world.
Yeah.
So I'm still not big on this video thing.
Okay.
I do not like these reels very much.
Right.
To me, I don't have the budget to make reels that are art versus the camera.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like what gets you down on it? I've asked everybody this. I can't find anybody that's better than this.
Yeah.
You look at your insights on your reels, the average watch time is 6 to 8 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't understand what anybody's getting out of this.
Yeah. I get it.
I don't see the point. I know that photo stared at longer than 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just mindless flipping. I don't know what the point of it is.
But see, here's the thing, and you and I can talk about this because we've talked about it before, and here's a good topic for us to go down a rabbit hole on, and that is, when you're in this world, this waterfowling world, and you're trying to create a brand or a business or whatever it is you're trying to carve in this industry, the normal rules that you read about on YouTube, that doesn't apply to us.
All of that's irrelevant in what we do.
It is 100%, and I never really fully understood it until you explained it to me. Like when you're looking at marketing people to help you do your thing and build, and so it doesn't carry over. So from the, I don't know, whatever fucking world that's popular right now with TikTok and all this shit, but like, I don't know what it is, but it doesn't carry over. What works in one industry definitely does not work in the waterfowl industry.
So the best description I can give is, I'm going to use decoys for example.
Yep. Now,
I don't know every brand that's out because I don't comb the internet for decoy brands, right?
Right.
But if you say, let's take the top 5 brands.
Mm-hmm.
There is no marketing firm that can come in and sell their product better than they can. I
agree.
Because if there would be a lot more of them.
That's right.
So if they're selling decoys and they've been selling those decoys for 20 years, 15 years, and they're still at the top of the sales, they obviously know how to sell their decoys.
Mm-hmm.
And because a marketing firm could sell the cup that makes the horn sound on social media, whatever that is. Have you seen that thing?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
That does not work.
No.
Now that's not to say there's not really good marketing people, but man, the amount of people that make duck calls for a living and have no other job or income, it's small.
You can count on 2 hands.
It's small. Yeah. So when I have a marketing person tell me, like, this is how you would do that, I'm like, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
And I've tried it with them, and it's almost zero results. I've had one guy that has made a huge difference in my sales, but he went about it in a totally different way.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't just standard marketing. Yeah. So no, waterfowl stuff, I don't know if all hunting stuff is, because I have zero experience with deer and all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah, no, there is an art to selling hunting stuff for a living. It is
One-
not just we hire a marketing firm and then they're going to do these standard marketing things and then it goes. It is not like that at all.
I would, and this isn't to insult anybody, but or any customer of any product or whatever like that. But this is what I feel as waterfowlers, and this could probably go across as hunters across the board, but they can pick bullshit out fairly quick.
Oh, 100%.
Right? So
Yes.
if you're going to try and just feed them a narrative like this is the best duck call on the market, this is the best decoy. Listen, we've seen it. And anybody listening to this show, if you're a brand new waterfowl or if you're a seasoned waterfowl, you know you have your brands that you like. And someone could say to you, this is the best decoy. I don't know. I don't like it. I like this. I like brand X better. And you've seen, and there's no amount of marketing that's going to change a person's mind on that.
It might bump them for a little while, but like long term, the way I try to describe it is if the brand doesn't have a soul, it usually dies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like a brand's almost living and breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that artwork comes in, right? So where you talk about those photos, you wouldn't believe, actually, you probably would believe, but when I talk to, so if I talk to people now, today, vice 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the first thing anybody does right now is they go check out your socials, right? They want to see if you're legit. They want to see if you're doing good things and the whole bit. And the amount of time somebody is like, hey, your pictures are good, your posts are good, because that I'm not taking anything away from anybody's pictures or anything like that. And I always worry about pissing people off. But if you want to be a professional, then you got to look professional too, because you've got to put yourself above the other guy that's going knocking on that door. And if the only thing they've got to gauge you on is your social media, it better be tight, or else. So you look at, and I've said it on here, and you may or may not agree with me, but I think Apex Ammunition, like their photography is at
no, dude, that guy that does that in the videos is insanely legit.
Insane, dude.
He's got the best short videos on social right now. That one with the old man was amazing. The ones up in Alaska,
amazing.
The
Alaska ones were insane.
Yeah, no, they are legit as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he is putting a lot of thought and that's a storyline that's done well. That stuff is wonderful.
Yeah. He's not waking up on a Saturday morning going, I think I'll go snap some pictures. Like this is detailed, planned out. This is what I want at this time with this sort of kind of, backdrop, whatever, right?
Oh, no, that is, like I said, I don't know that guy from anybody. I've never talked to him, but no, that stuff is done extremely well. I try to do social in a way that I couldn't hire somebody to write it in the same way I do.
Yep.
So it's personal.
Yep.
Yeah, like that's, I always looked at it like if somebody else could come in and replace me on it, that I'm not doing it correctly.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's good or bad sales-wise, right?
Well, again, right? Like I
don't care.
Yeah. I've heard you say before, like you don't do posts on social for the sake of doing a post on social. You post on social when you have something that you want out there. And your post is usually a question or something that can interact with people and to get people's feedback on, right? It's not just a willy-nilly post.
Outside of the ones that you have to do, like, hey, new call, or that stuff, right? Or hey, we're back in stock on this stuff.
Yeah.
So if you take that away, because that's just like a business thing that has to go up, right?
That's right.
Same thing that would go on the website has to go on there, product-wise, business-wise, right?
Yeah.
And this is what is actually, his name was Kyle Williams, his marketing guy that I hired. And he's the one that helped me with a new logo, redesign the site. He helped me restructure social media.
Yep.
But Yeah. Yeah. So outside of those things, yeah, I never put anything on the main social media feed that's just a post to post it.
Yeah.
So that's why, and sometimes it might go 3 weeks, it might go a month.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have anything to say, I don't post it. Now,
Yep.
the story I treat different. The story is where I post stuff like to make call sales as a
Yep.
story.
Yep.
Yeah, that I look at like, hey, this is a quick thing. Customers want information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is just a product information deal on the story.
Yep.
Yeah, because they can kind of that's just made to flip.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I'll post pictures of some calls, some features, and a sound file, right? So that I do on the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody gets offended from seeing that on there. But
No.
if I go to somebody's feed, I want to have something interesting on there. Yeah, like I want them to say something to me about it. But I'm also getting older, and I see 0 point in a reel.
Right.
I don't know what to tell anybody in the reel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see, yeah, your hunt was great. But I don't watch hunting, so yeah. To me, that's just a flip, and yeah. But I want to see the photo, and I want to read.
No, and it's a good point with regards to the reel. I think that is something that the software developed. I don't think anybody within the industry has said, "Hey, listen, we need to do reels," because I think this is what the customer or the audience wants to see. I think that's the developer that is pushing reels, like they're making reels. Hey, listen, this is what you need. This is their marketing people saying this is the tool you need to use now. Because if you take, for example, Facebook, Instagram, well, they're battling TikTok, right?
Right.
And so TikTok, blew up. Everybody is using it. I don't see a lot of hunting stuff on there, but again, I'm like you. I'm not searching hunting stuff all the time. I'm more
Yeah.
watching dogs do funny things on TikTok than anything. Um, but when you got, these reels, and if you try to understand, like I think it's damn near impossible to try and understand the fucking algorithm and how they work,
Oh,
or how you can
so
get the most bang, or the most people watching. I don't know how the hell you do that.
if I sold something that was inexpensive and it was made for young people, I would be all over reels,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I think that's your genre on that for the
Right.
most part,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But man, I think the thing everybody needs to remember about social media is it's not real.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
It's
Good
just
point.
it's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not a real thing. It's one day they're gonna take it away and it's gonna be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and
So
and everybody's got to go back to actually talking to people and
yes, I
yeah.
would love it if I could put the branding message out on some other platform, some other way, I would do it in a second.
Right.
Yeah. Like if I thought print ads would be as good for the brand as social media, I would put high quality print ads at.
Right.
Yeah. There's not enough publications to put the print ads in.
But not only that though, Bobby, like print ads, like they are expensive, dude.
Oh, yes. Like I said, I like social from the aspect I can throw some art into the world and
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can help somebody have a better duck season. So social media is great for
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, this sounds terrible. If I didn't have to spend my time going onto this fictitious digital realm,
Yeah.
I would rather take a photo, make a great write up, put it out in the world where it's going to live. Because
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's kind of the problem with social is it kind of lives for a while, but it kind of doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, if you're 50 posts down on your feed, that's gone.
Oh yeah.
Who's looking at that?
Yeah.
Do you scroll back? I don't know. Maybe people do. Maybe I don't use it the same, but I don't just sit there and scroll somebody's page.
No.
Like if I run across something that I want to know more about, I'm looking at whatever's on the page, then I go to the website and that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, absolutely. And
so it doesn't live very long, but that's kind of the cool thing about a print ad which I know they're not getting looked at, but if you've got it, I love finding old wildfowl issues, going back and looking at all the ad work,
Mm-hmm.
seeing what was popular then.
Yeah.
But I know they're obviously not selling anything off an ad that's 15 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny that you bring up the magazines and the ads. I put a question out to a friend of mine who's heavily in the marketing world within that gun industry, right?
Right.
Very, you know, so, and I asked that person, I was like, you've been watching Punisher Waterfowl for a number of years. We've worked together. We've done little things, right? Nothing major or anything. And I'm like, if you had one word of advice on how I could grow the Punisher Waterfowl brand, what would it be? And that person told me, you need to get into magazines.
I've had a few people tell me the same thing. I've never pulled the trigger on it.
But this person was, you need to be able to, if you can write an article, that's what the person was saying to me. If you can write an article and have that in a magazine, that is how you grow your brand right now. And I just thought, Jesus, that's wild. I would never have thought, like, I would have thought like an old time marketing person, that would have been what they said. But this person is 30 years old. It's been doing this for 10 years. And that's what was suggested. Get into a magazine.
Man, I can say this right now. If somebody can show me the numbers to where if they told me I could spend 20 grand a year on print ads and I could do these 10 shows and the brand would grow just as much as it does off social media, I would dump social media in a second.
I think a lot of people would.
Yeah. Like I would delete everything on the page and put one post up that let customers know everything they needed to know about me, and I would never post on there again.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would look at these brands now that, like, dude, I interact with people that are what's the title that they're given? I don't know, like fucking social media or
no, I know
whatever their fucking title is, and they have no idea about the waterfowling world whatsoever.
No,
this is someone that's a college graduate,
right?
And a good for them. They've got an education and stuff like that, but they have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, they have no idea about the people that I need to reach out to. They're just, this is what the book says, and this is the way, the algorithms go. No. That, going back to our marketing thing, it doesn't work for us.
What pisses me off about the whole deal, and this is just pisses me off about social media in general, I don't want to see most of what's on there. I want to see the follow buttons I hit.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to see all the stuff they're wanting me to go down rabbit holes on.
Yeah.
So it was like that at one point in time.
It was.
Yeah. So if I knew that all the stuff I followed showed up and all the people that followed me showed up, I would like it way more. Because, like, okay, now I have these people that are engaged and I know they see what I do. Yeah. So that means I would fail or succeed on what I create.
Yeah.
But I don't think you really fail or succeed on what you create on there. It's just up to Instagram to show it to people.
Absolutely. Well, I told you this week, and I have no problem talking about it. But like the last 2 weeks, the analytics for this show, and I have no reason. Like,
dude, all social right now is crap on the reach. Everybody I've talked to, it's just rough.
Dude, like, for no reason, like, no one can explain it to me.
No. So I think they curb hunting.
Well, I think so too.
Yeah. I think they just curb anything to do with killing an animal or gun, or I think they just curb hunting.
Yeah.
But now I could be wrong, but it certainly doesn't feel like the industry has gotten bigger on social over the years. It feels like the industry has shrunk. And the influencer side of it has grown. Yeah. So that, to me, I'm like, this is okay. But yeah, if I could if I could get away from the influencer side of it and I could just reach the people that were following, like that would be way more exciting for me personally.
Yeah. No, I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. Man, it is tricky, and you're trying to, at the end of the day, you're trying to create a business, grow your brand, expand and do all those positive things. And on the outside looking in, you get the impression that it's very easy to do, right? Because you get this 18-year-old kid that's making, that's getting 20 million likes for Burton. And then some other kid goes, well, I like hunting, I like shooting ducks. Maybe I'm going to do that, and maybe I can become a star. But it just doesn't compute over. And you said it, 8 seconds is the normal watch time on a reel. Like I
Social
can't,
media to me seems to be catered towards kids.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I can't get them, and I know you can't, but I can't get a message out, a positive message within 6 to 8 seconds.
Oh no. Dude, trying to make a 1 minute video is hard if you're
Yeah,
gonna say something.
yeah,
If it actually has some content to it.
that's right.
Now
That's
you
right.
can show some calling and you could show a few birds with their feet down and then you can show
Right.
the shoot, right? But I don't particularly know what that says to anybody.
No. Well, I know
And
when we
I
done the
know it
June,
excites kids though.
yeah.
Yeah.
When we done the June, it's mental health month video, and I said to the boys, I said, boys, send me a video, but keep it under a minute, right?
Yeah. That's hard.
And they all come back. They were like, Jesus, like, I thought a minute was a long time, and it is
No.
not a long time to
Oh
get a
no.
message across.
All those little short videos I made for the 20th anniversary
Yeah,
and
the
that
Chronicles.
I will have to do those 2 or 3 times to try to shorten them. Because if you just talk a little bit, 2 minutes goes by like nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't think people watch 2 minute videos.
I don't think I think the only
I don't think
people,
I'm interesting enough to get them engaged for 2 minutes.
and this isn't a slag against you, because it works towards me too, or it applies to me as well. The people that are watching your videos and my videos for 2 minutes, they are they have a vested interest in what we're saying. They're not, it's not people that's scrolling through and see
No,
Amy and
I would
Pittman.
completely agree. So like when I'm making most of the stuff, I'm like, okay, so most people, most customers that are the loyalists and most into my brand are who is going to
That's right.
absorb the content.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just what I figure it's for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's, the way it is. And I think the majority of people, or the majority of people that's watching your 2 minute videos, they get it. And there's something to be said when you're catering your videos and your content towards those loyalists, because
Oh yeah.
I think they realize, hey, this is geared towards me. It's not geared towards him trying to pull in somebody that he's
I don't
probably
know.
not going to get.
You probably aren't going to go back in time and find a post from me where I'm trying to gain followers.
Right.
I I wouldn't know how to make a post that gains followers.
That's right. And I think the majority of your loyalists, they get that, right? And they see it, and it comes true on the videos, and they know, well, we know Bobby's not out just trying to build likes.
Yeah, it's I don't I yeah, I'd assume that's what an influencer has figured out. How do I make posts that gain followers?
Yeah.
I'd assume that's the game on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it could have zero interest in that. They just have to follow because they like it.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
yeah, that's just all it is.
Listen, buddy, we do have to talk about, and I just touched on it when I said, you've been 20 years, but you've done um the 20-year celebration. You're putting out these videos now, the Ducklander Chronicles. You had a limited run of some special calls. You got the Mammoth going right now. You were showing off going back, you done some calls going back to your roots, like from the early days and everything. Is there still product available for people, like the special limited runs?
There's a few of those left.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a handful of each model.
Okay.
I had enough interest in that old troublemaker that's a double reed
Yeah.
that I went ahead and took the ones I had and I made them into matte finished calls,
Okay.
and I put them in the regular lineup.
Okay.
So
Cool.
if those sell, they'll stay in the lineup.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. The most exciting new call thing I have going is we are working on expanding the goose calls.
Okay.
So I haven't announced this to anybody yet. This will be probably starting to go out in August, but I have a good friend named TC Bolding. I've
Mm.
known TC since he was 15 or 16, and he's married now,
Yeah.
in his 20s. But TC used to be a contest caller, absolutely killer on a goose call.
Hmm.
So I hired TC this year to take over and help me develop goose calls.
Oh, sweet.
So we have a few new models that'll be coming out. That's why the inventory is low on the website.
Right.
But TC will actually be taking over all the tuning on the goose calls,
Awesome.
and we developed a new set of guts off of some of his broken guts, and so the goose calls from now on, we're in the middle of doing all this right now. He just ran through the first couple dozen of the new guts I molded for approval.
Wow.
Um, so those should be coming back to me in by UPS this week, and then I'll make the final mold of them, and then make the first run of production guts, and then I've got about 300 of the new goose calls ready to ship down to him in Oklahoma, and he'll tune them all and get them back to me.
Wow.
So that'll be the next expansion on.
That's big news, buddy.
Yeah, so that should be pretty good. And truth is, oh, I'm sure everybody listening is gonna go, "Oh yeah, I hear that." Trying to find somebody to work right now
Oh,
is impossible.
yeah.
So I can't find anybody to work in the shop with me. So my wife is back in the shop. We're actually getting ready to announce she'll be on the phones again, because I haven't answered the phone in a long time. So everybody that's been calling, I haven't answered the phone in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'll have her back on the phones. I think this next coming week we've been getting everything caught back up, especially after this inventory deal.
Yeah.
But so she'll be back on the phones. So since I can't find anybody to work, I've been starting to farm out a little more. Like, so
Right.
TC's taking over the goose calls for me. Yeah. And then that's kind of how I'm tackling not being able to find employees.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
you heard it here, everybody. Listen, there's an opportunity for you to work in the shop. And listen, if you think you're going to make $80,000 a year sweeping the floor, don't even bother to apply. But
Well,
there's a
I
job
posted
there.
for a while looking for a full-time guy, and I got nothing on that. So then I
Really?
went to, can you give me 1 day a week?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, so nothing yet. I've got a couple guys I got to email back, but nothing really yet.
Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
you give me free room and board, I'll come down and work for you for the
I
summer.
will set a camper back here. But dude, everybody that I know can't find employees.
I know it's wild.
Yeah.
When we get off, I'll tell you about an opportunity that fell in my lap today, and it goes to show just how bad it is right now to try to get people to work. That it fell into my lap.
But no, it is absolutely silly on that right now. So that's how I am handling it. I'm starting to sub a few things out here and there to guys that, and like truthfully, like TC is going to tune a goose call better than I am. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He runs circles around me on a goose call.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We are getting to that hour mark, Bobby, buddy. So we'll tidy this up, and but if you're okay with it, I'm gonna do a couple teasers just with the goose call. I'm gonna make a post. So on Monday on Monday is when the show will go live, but I'm gonna probably do a couple teasers from this episode just to put it out and just, you know.
Yeah, that's right. I should have a photo of me and TC up this week announcing it.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Well,
so that
I'll
should
wait.
Go up.
I'll wait until you post about you and TC, and then I'll probably
Okay.
post some teasers. That way, it just
Right. Yeah,
Makes
that's
sense. It should
perfectly
come
fine.
from you first before me.
Oh, I don't care.
I know you don't, but
Yeah.
um, buddy, again, thanks so much. First off, thanks for everything because you've been you're an actual friend. You're a friend that we talk all the time. You're a sponsor for the show. You come on anything I ask, you always give me an honest answer. Yes, I can do that. No, I can't do that. Whatever it is. Um, I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for me and helping me out. So from the bottom of my heart, thanks, Bobby. Last words to you, my man.
Well, I always appreciate you pushing the calls for me because this is how I make a living, and
Yeah.
I super appreciate the friendship. So you are one of four Canadian friends.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Or
That's about
am I missing one? Is there
it.
five?
No, there's four.
There's four. That's what I thought. Yeah. So yeah. So no, like I said, I appreciate it. Yeah. All support is amazing support, especially when it comes from friends. So
Absolutely, buddy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the only duck calls that are on my lanyard are from Ducklander calls, and that's been the way for a very long time, long before Bobby was sponsoring this show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Union 0430 podcast. Not experts. We'll never pretend to be, just a group of dudes that love one another's company and love chatting about bird hunting and everything else under the sun. Big love. Until next time.